To this now, for the latest coronavirus updates, let's take you live to China. I'm joined there by journalist Yunfei Zhao, who comes to us live from Wuhan, which for months now has been called the very epicentre of the outbreak of COVID-19. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. There are various reports that are coming through that things are, to a certain extent, levelling out in Wuhan, and that government is even looking at alleviating some of the very strict lockdown regulations. Can you confirm that for us?
Yes, they're lifting the very strict measure of quarantine, but actually they're doing that gradually, little by little. Now, given the fact that today is the fourth consecutive day that Wuhan, the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak, reports zero newly infected COVID-19 cases. So all the communities that doesn't have a newly infection rate for 14 consecutive days, they're allowing their residents to leave the apartment and hang out in the community, but that's only within the community. So it's still separated somehow. And they're, as you mentioned, lifting the measures little by little. There have already been seen buses on the street, but only people who can carry the certificate will be allowed to take the buses and to go to the place that they have to go. And also, there are also media reports saying that the local officials are inspecting or doing the disinfection work at the railway stations, as well as restaurants, as well as some key places in the city, although those are the places that haven't still been open to the general public, but they're certainly working on it, on their way to a full reoperation of the city. But so far, technically, the city is still under lockdown.
There were reports that there were fireworks that were set off almost in celebration of some of the lifting of those regulations in Wuhan. What are we hearing in terms of reaction from residents of Wuhan? There must be great relief.
Well, people are so happy because you imagine, if you stayed at home for so long period of time, we're talking about 50 days, it feels really terrible when the work gets routinely doing that again and again, and also it's definitely a big threat to the local residents psychologically. But happily, when the measurements are lifted a little bit, on one side they are celebrating maybe the end of the epidemic, and on the other hand they will be able to hang out and go to the restaurant and maybe hang out with friends. But now, at the same time, local residents are very, very vigilant about what's going on, even though the government, as I mentioned, allow people to go downstairs in those communities with zero infection rate. Many people choose not to do so, just to be vigilant. So China calls it a people's war against the coronavirus, and it's simply because people were so cooperative to what the government want them to do, and that's why the virus got contained in such a short and effective way.
And I suppose that is key. I mean, I'm talking to you from a country where certain regulations were only put in place about a week ago. You're talking from a place where lockdown was implemented almost 2 months ago. So the experience of those living in Wuhan is really something that the rest of the world really should pay attention to.
Absolutely. So I think the residents here in Wuhan, a lot of people are saying that these are the residents with heroes because they are so cooperative. And then this is a measure that is unprecedented, given the fact that imagine staying at home since January 23rd, and this is absolutely not an easy task, given the fact that this is a city with 11 million people and also a city with more than 3,000 communities. It's really tough job, both for the residents as well as for the city community workers and city volunteers.
Thank you so much for that update. That's a journalist Yunfei Zhao reporting to us live from Wuhan. Really sobering information coming from him there. This is a place that's been on lockdown since the 23rd of January, and a real lesson to the rest of the world. If we follow those instructions, operate carefully, sensitively, and instill social distancing in a very, very serious way.